Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Grenada. I have with us once again Hudson George, the very well informed man that has lots to tell us about Grenada. Today, the conversation is about Grenada heritage and culture. So, good evening, Mr. Hudson. How are you?
Yeah, good evening to you, Mr. Ingram Jones. I'm good, I'm good.
You could just call me Ingram, less than Jones. But how
Oh,
are you
just
anyway?
Ingram. Yeah.
It's just Ingram.
Yeah.
Ingram Jones.
Everything is good. Everything is good, you know.
What's the weather like in Grenada today?
Well, I really based in Toronto, eh?
Oh yeah, of course you're in Toronto. My apologies.
Yeah.
What's the weather
Yeah,
like? Oh, I'm going to ask you what the weather in Toronto is like then.
the weather in Toronto now is getting a little bit cold, you know. The
Yeah.
weather is changing, but let's say 20, 25 years ago, it used to be colder.
Uh-huh.
Now the leaves are dropping from the tree. But 3 decades ago, it used to be colder.
Okay. So for
Yeah.
people who don't know who you are, can give people a little bit of flavor, a little background to who Mr. Hudson George is and why we must listen to him a bit more.
Well, I'm from HERMITAGE, St. Patrick, Grenada.
Okay.
If you're into the media, you know me. I write newspaper for all the newspaper in Grenada already.
Wow.
I write for Caribbean Net News for years, then Caribbean News now. So I've been around, you know. I've been
Oh
around.
wow, Caribbean News. Wow, I remember
Yeah.
Caribbean News. That's the one that used to get used to have in the UK as well. We used to be able to get that in UK. Caribbean News.
The one from the Cayman Island. Cayman
Wow.
Island.
Okay.
I used to
Okay.
read. Yeah. I was a regular. And
You was a
even when
regular.
yeah, and then after there is one called Caribbean Global News. I wrote a few for them too. I won't really say I stopped, but I didn't have time these days to do it. But I'll start again. Mm-hmm.
So, what was it that got you into wanting to write about the Caribbean culture?
Well, really, I started listening to news with a radio. So I don't know why I was doing it. So I used to listen to BBC International Call and all them things. Then I found out this man was a Grenadian, Stanley Charles. Those days when I was listening to BBC with there was a guy called Ronald Sanders. Now he lives in Antigua, he's some ambassador. As a small boy, I've been listening to those people.
Right.
I don't know why I was doing that. You know? So I like news, you know. But culture now is something I like too. I'm interested in it too. But what I find in Grenada is that Grenadians don't take culture seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Grenada got lots of culture. And different cultures, they have things like, if you're talking about carnival, when I was growing up, we had mass in the village called Sweet Mass. You have Shotney throughout St. Patrick's and other village, but predominantly St. Patrick's, that remain. The job culture grow over the years. Then they used to have things like Maple, Apache, Juju Warrior, Cowboy Mass, and all some Wild Indian.
What does all that mean to a person like myself who probably doesn't know? I know jab, but tell me what all that is. Explain to me those things.
All these cultures were very dominant in village. During the carnival.
Right.
But over the years, some of those cultures they diminish. Whilst jab grew into very popular than the others. But what happened in Grenada is that politics destroying our culture. Two, most of the organization that represent Grenada who very active, they're more in the south. And further you go in the south, the people don't know about the culture.
Why is that?
Because in the south, after the Federal Revolution, the British didn't want the Creole culture to remain.
Okay.
So the people in the south, they remember the first schools Like you have GBSS, Anglican High School, then St. Joseph Convent, Presentation Boys College. So the schools, the institutions is in the city. Right. So rural people with money, or if you're extra educated, you're very bright, you get a scholarship, you went to school in town. For example, my uncle, that's my father's brother, had a son. He died about 3 years ago. Who got a scholarship to go to PBC in the 1950s, because he came first in the island when they given 1 and 2 scholarships. So he went to PBC.
Hold on, we've got your comment coming through here.
Coming from rural Grenada, and if you tap the island in what they call scholarship 2, 3, he went to GB.
Great show.
Yeah. So his name was John George. John George. He died about 3. Yeah, John George. He died about 3 years ago. So there was this culture. So the culture in the communities over the years, the jab culture grow and become something global now. But if you go beyond, once you leave the outer parishes and you enter into St. George, you won't find somebody in St. George. Maybe 1 or 2 perhaps could play a jab jump. You got to come to St. Andrew and St. Patrick to find people beating the jab jump. If you want real jab jump.
So what's the difference between the jab down the south and the jab in the north?
The jab in the south, they don't use what you call the jab rhythm.
What's the jab rhythm? Tell me.
Because it comes from the jump.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you watch clips of carnival in Grenada and you see jab beating drum,
yes,
that is the jab drum, the real drum. I'm not talking about music from a DJ. And what the Grenadian, the younger Grenadians were able to do, like there was a band in Grenville called Mass International. The leader of that band was a guy called Dan Charles. They take the jab lyrics of the street and put into instrument and record it. So that was the first jab song recorded. Okay. And then after that, Talpree took jab's songs too off the street and he experimented it too. And then the most popular one was Old Woman We Taking Home.
Right.
And with that, jab music gone global. But before Talpree did that, Mass International had one called Jambalasi.
Okay.
And they won a road match with it in Grenada. So that was the first jab song recorded, Mass International.
Right.
So now, jab was what you call lower class people mass. Jab dress in village, cook food the night. And perhaps if you have a small pig or they steal your chicken and cook,
Yes.
The night, you call that Canboule night. Before before Juve morning.
Right.
So they will steal your chicken, or maybe a little pig or a little goat, maybe cook you, And according to my father told me before there was a night called Mass Volo night. Volo mean to thief. Volo mean to thief. So in the older days, men used to go to the estate and thief a pig or a small goat, hide it, and cook it Canboule night. That was right before Juve morning,
Okay.
So this is jab culture, but now jab now has grown into what you call the most popular culture in Grenada. And if I was a politician in Grenada, who I was involved in the Ministry of Culture in Grenada, I will declare Emancipation Day in Grenada, jab there. Or let the jab just run the street and get tourists to come to Grenada to come to a jab celebration as emancipation. It's like how people go to the Bahamas for Goombay Festival, where they do the masquerade like a John Canoe,
Right.
which is a culture from Nigeria, from the Igbo tribe.
Okay.
So in Grenada, when we talk about heritage, they still don't even know how to make money. Because if Jamaicans could have reggae sunsplash and all those things to make money, why can't we make money with the jab jab? We wouldn't make money with reggae. It's jab jab we got. We sell that genius music and culture to the world.
But why do you think the reason is they won't sell it?
Well, it will happen one day. When the older people die and the young people, they're going to evolve and do it because that's the culture. Eventually, it's going to happen because the older people is going to die out. And the jab jab will never go away because it become a popular culture with a music. The music become a genre of music. So in Grenada, I don't think they care about the culture so much, but the government itself is making money off the jab jab now because without COVID, Grenada Carnival been growing bigger and bigger and bigger because the jab jab music make it into Trinidad. And Trinidad is what you call the Mecca of Caribbean Carnival in terms of the big spectacular show they put on. So once the jab jab culture infiltrates Trinidad, then it attracts more people because the Trinidadian is coming. They come into furthermore
the jab jab to be a part of jab jab, and then of course, yeah.
Not only that, they're using the same jab jab music too.
Of course.
Even from the jab jab guys who making the rhythms in Grenada, they're supplying the Trinidadians. And the Trinidadians are also experimenting in the world.
You think they could take jab jab to Trinidad in that sense?
No, because again, it's like reggae music, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. If you look at the reggae.
I mean, you could take a bunch of people represent the jab jab and go down to Grenada.
I think they did it in when they have international soca monarch. They did it. Well, yeah, it is done. Yeah.
Yes.
So, but music is sometimes come by the way you speak it. The Grenadian accent and the jab jab suit. It's like if you go to Dominica, they have a musical bouillon.
Bouillon. What's it?
Right. Bouillon.
Bouillon.
Yeah. Are you familiar with a band called WCK?
No.
The music kind of, sometimes you could get a little taste like a Grenadian music in it, but it's still different.
Okay.
And then if you go to St. Kitts, you get they have a different style too. And then Antigua, which is more commercialized, Born in Flame was able to the band Born in Flame were able to capitalize on the Dominican music and the St. Kitts music and create one of the biggest bands in the carnival because a lot of Dominicans are moving to St. Kitts, to Antigua. So it's evolutions of time. For instance, the culture in Trinidad though is not necessarily indigenous to Trinidad. Trinidad was a place where migrants going. And furthermore, Grenadians brought carnival to Trinidad. But if you tell an uneducated Trinidadian that they might want to beat you.
We're not having it. You're not having
it. Was a French Creole man named Romeo Saint Laurent brought carnival from Grenada to Trinidad.
Well, Trinidad does not have that.
Well, Trinidad is I will call Trinidad the mecca of the carnival culture, even though some of the culture has been imported over the time. But we got to give them what is due to them.
As we say, we run things, ting run we.
Right. The Trinity.
We're not having it.
the Trinidadians understand the importance of culture,
Of course.
whilst Grenadians take it for granted. For instance,
Do you think they take it for granted, or not? That being sound disrespectful, is a lack of education, and I don't mean education mean school education. I mean in terms of business and finance and how you can put your country on the island on the map more, or
yes, I will say that.
tourism.
Tourism.
The
Go ahead.
The clear understanding of tourism and what are the products that we have on the island, and how are we going to brand those products for the wider world. Welcome to Grenada. Yes, we've got sea. Yes, we've got sand. You know, we've got jab as well.
Yes, I will agree 100%.
But if you've got people that are coming into the culture rather than being of the culture, it's different. I can't go to Spain. Well, I could go to Spain and be their tourist director, but it wouldn't work. It's not the same way. But if you ask me about the UK, or you ask me about, for example, you ask me about bits about Grenada, I'd know, but I know more about the UK because I'm born here. Do you understand?
Yes.
Understand the culture. That's here.
You're totally correct. In Grenada, they don't know to have what you call a best village competition.
Okay.
They don't know to have what you call the best parishes competition. Like you get the best of the parish. They have this big stadium. Now, if they really love culture, they should have been putting on a show in Grenada with the best culture from every parish. And from the parish, they should have best village culture, so you get the best to bring, and you create, as you said, tourism and more attractions. Why in Trinidad have a history of best village competition for years. You see? So
what has to happen? I tell you what has to happen. From what I've noticed, somebody has to start the idea off, take it to the ministry, and then the ministry steals the ideas, and then that's what'll happen.
Yeah, but what is happening in Grenada? Foreigner tourists coming to Grenada for Jab celebration.
Yes. They
want to see Chutney. The carnival committee will, what they call SMC, Spice Mass Corporation, will give Chutney bands money to come to perform in the city. But if they have to give a cultural award, they will never give an old man who plays Chutney for many years. They never honor them. But they will honor a steel pan band arranger, musician.
Why?
Because, as I said, Grenadians does not recognize what is theirs. We cannot claim Trinidad, steel pan, but Jab is copyright Grenada. Chutney is copyright Grenada. Veco is copyright Grenada. So why can't you go to Victoria or Guave, where is the nest of the Veco, and give our old Veco man an award for his culture? Because when tourists come to Grenada, this is unique. You come to St. Patrick, which is the home of the Chutney. You might find Chutney in other villages, in the other parish, but it's not predominantly St. Patrick. Every village plays Chutney. They never give a Chutney band leader award. But they will give a pretty band mass leader over the year award and say, oh, you are cultural icon. So he doesn't care about culture. And one of the problems is that I think that the people in the outer parishes, they should look into getting more than participating in just carnival physically. They should try to get themselves, create sub-organization to challenge the bigger organization to get more recognition for the contribution. Because these are the people bringing the money to the country. And these things are our heritage. So that, for instance, in Grenada again, they're celebrating Halloween in the south of the island. And they're celebrating when America is going to have Thanksgiving, which is soon. They will do it in the south of Grenada because of the students coming in Grenada. Mm-hmm. And they did it with I think it's the 25th of this month, is it? They do it to commemorate the American invasion. They do it with that. But in Grenada, we have a tradition which you call Saraka or Salaka. The biggest Salaka or Saraka on mainland Grenada is in River Sally every year. And over the years, the people in River Sally say, we don't want no DJ to come to the Saraka because we giving back, and it's something to deal with the ancestors, and you give back for crops.
Explain to me what Saraka is.
Saraka is like they cook food. Mm-hmm. It's similar like Thanksgiving, but they do it in a more African way. And okay. I'm going to do it from the River Sally on, because River Sally is the real place for it. There's other Saraka, but River Sally is the real thing. So in River Sally, different people in different villages in the village cook food. They cook food, and then they feed children on leaf, on blogger leaf or balige leaf. Balige look like a banana leaf, and you eat, right? Okay. After they eat, they do libations and rituals in tradition. Like they say, they're giving thanks to whether it's ancestors or the gods or whatever, for the crop season. And after that is a new crop again. Okay. So it's just like in the American way, they say giving Thanksgiving to the founding fathers for taking North America and Canada. So whilst Thanksgiving in American style and Canadian style invaded Grenada, mm-hmm. I think the government should promote Saraka and make you aware that's your culture. Then you're going to wait over the years for Thanksgiving to be picking up all over the place.
On the subject of River Sally, if I'm correct, I was running a program a cricket program out there, but I remember my eye being eye-catching. It was I remember the field and this kind of like looked like a stadium, like not even a stadium,
a playing field.
Warriors would fight. Something like a Greek-looking sort of way it was built. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, and they beat drum whole night and dance.
Yeah,
you say nation dance.
Yeah,
which is in Carriacou now.
Right.
Is more in Carriacou, which is a smaller island, but all the people of Carriacou participate in those things.
Right.
They call it nation dance.
Nation dance. Okay.
And they have a thing called Maroon Festival.
Right.
But in River Sally, which is the biggest village in St. Patrick in terms of population, and perhaps one of the biggest village in Grenada for population, have that culture intact. And maybe I would like to see perhaps the government people promote it. Then maybe when I walk in Stick, I see young people doing American Thanksgiving in Grenada.
I have to say, when I was in Grenada, Satiers was my favorite place to go in Grenada. Satiers, I love Satiers. I love the beach. I love the whole area around there. Just something about it that I just loved. Coming down over the hill, coming down. I think it's past the cemetery, if I'm right. You're going over the hill, coming down.
Mali Cemetery, Mali.
Yes, love it. And you go up top of the hill where the sun is out. It's beautiful, sunny, and you come down that hill. Love that. Love that.
It's not because I'm from St. Patrick's, I'm boasting, I'm lying. St. Patrick's people won the most carnival queen, soca monarch, groovy soca monarch.
Beautiful.
Calypso monarchs, when you add up all. That's why they call St. Patrick's Crown City now, because of that.
It's a place, if I ever were to move back to Grenada, I would live in St. Patrick's. I love it. I'd love it. It's something different about it that nowhere else in the island's got. I don't know what it is.
And the accent still remain the same. It's not invaded yet.
It's beautiful, beautiful. The people. I don't know when I go to Grenville. I mean, Grenville's busy and fast, but when I'm in Grenville, I feel like this while I'm in Grenville. But yeah, when I feel in St George's, it's very, very, very touristy. When I go to St Patrick's, you've got the beach is beautiful there, and it's just a different vibe out there. I don't know what the vibe is, just a different vibe. I can't describe what it is, but there's just a different vibe out there.
Yeah, and also St. Patrick's got maybe the most tourist sites too, what untouched. For instance, if you come to Hermitage and we have a house, they say it's a great house.
Yes,
a great house, but it's not a slave house. Perhaps there was a slave house before.
Yes, actually, on the subject of slave house, I always remember coming from getting the taxi or the minibus back, and I used to go past this sort of like house. You say, yeah, that used to be a slave house right there. That was a slave house. And every time I go past them, never was meant to ask why that was a slave house or what it meant.
A slave house means a house that was owned by a slave master.
Yeah. Okay. So if that was the case, I mean, I might sound ignorant here, but why would I keep up? I mean, they've got the stuff for the slaves at the bottom of the sea. They've got that underwater sculpture, which I never got to see when I was in Grenada, which was a shame. But the slave house, is it not? It's not something to be proud of. Obviously, it's historical.
No, it's not.
It's not. You want to get rid of all. I mean, I'm just being ignorant now, but I mean, to go and see something as a slave pen. I mean, it's not exactly something that for tourists, it's great education for them. But I mean, I don't want to be seeing a slave pen. If you understand what I'm saying.
Well, there is one in Hermitage, right by where that house.
That's what I'm talking about.
But the house itself is not a slave house. There was a slave house before. It's a black man built that house there.
Okay.
That black man was married to a woman who looked white, and maybe she was a descendant of a slave master. Not maybe, she was. But the man was a black man. His name was Saville Alexis.
Okay.
So most likely they had broken down the older house and built this big new one. But the slave pen, and then when you reach in Montreach, the next village when you're going for Sotters, when you leave Hermitage, there is 7 slave pen by Montreach Great House. That Great House. So that Great House now in Montreach is directly from a slave. That's the Kent's house, Kent. Now, the Kent will already the building to the Anglican church. Then you reach in, when you reach in Shantimel, you're still in St. Patrick. There is a big great house. We call that on Samaritan Hill, Samaritan Great House, but in St. Patrick, not in St. Mark. As you go down, you leave Shantimel top and you're going down the hill, there is a slave pen there too. Now, these things, the government is bringing in people and build fancy hotels and so.
Yeah.
But perhaps the government should look into these things and cooperate with the owners and get these things going. So not every tourist come to Grenada want to work in bikini. You are intellectuals and anthropologists and so who are interested in culture and history. So that could be good, if you meet up,
Yeah, as I said, obviously that for tourism is great for that, but to educate those that need educating.
Yeah, and school and even the students could see it bring more consciousness to them. They haven't done nothing with those things. Nothing. So they don't care about the heritage in Grenada. And then you have this, St. Lucia. St. Lucia have the famous piton.
Yeah.
There is a piton in St. Patrick. When you reach a place, if you travel through St. Patrick's on the east side, not on the west side of St. Patrick's, if you leave St. George and after you pass St. Andrew, you're going to pass Tivoli, you go Pinesfield, you go Montrose, you go Latas, Then if you turn to your left, you go down Plains. You turn to your right, you go River Sally. Then when you turn left, you come back in Plains. Then you go Mount Fendu Wheel, and then you reach, there's a place called Rosehill.
Rosehill, yes.
When you go inside, you make a right turn, you go inside Rosehill, you see the Pita. And if you walk, you could climb it from there. Or if you want, you to drive down to a place called Mount Fendu, Maday's Junction. Maday's Junction.
Yes.
You cross over a bridge, you go Cedars, and you climb the Pita. I climbed the Pita when I was 17 years. And when the first time I ride on an aeroplane, the first thing my mind on I climbed the Pita is like, you're up there. And when you're on Pita, you see Liberal Lake, and right now where they say the Chinese want to build the airport.
Yes.
And you see all of the Grenadines, all of Carriacou. Now, they're allowing people to change the name, and more we in St. Patrick telling them the place is Pita. But the beautiful thing about Pita, on top it have a big stone.
Mm-hmm.
And they call that stone the welcome stone. You sit on the stone.
So where the old airport was, where is that? Is that Plains, right? Am I wrong?
That is in Pearls, St. Andrew. The old airport is in St. Andrew.
Right.
Yeah, Plains is St. Patrick. So the Pita.
Is Plains where they play the cricket?
Yes. Yeah, there's a playing field there. Yeah.
Yes.
The Pita is just over Liberal Lake.
Right.
And the beauty, when you get up there, you watch all the islands in the Grenadines, St. Patrick's beauty, the Pita. And there is a stone. Everybody want to sit on that big stone called the welcome stone. So if you meet any Grenadian and they tell you, I went to the welcome stone, they climb Pita. So the thing is that after Gary was when I sit down and I think back, the two prime ministers that had really kind of care for the natural culture of Grenada,
mm-hmm.
I will still say it was Gary, and there was a prime minister from Carriacou. He was interim after the invasion. And then when the NDC came back, first won the election, they make him prime minister, Nicholas Brafitt. These are the two prime ministers in Grenada that really care about the Grenadian culture.
But okay, you see, those are the two that cared about the culture.
Mm-hmm.
What was the difference between those two that made a difference to Grenada and what the current administration and past haven't done? What's the difference?
Those other administration, those with the revolutionary ideas, always trying to intellectualize culture. So, because you're educated, you want to hijack culture and politicize it to suit your wanting. So when you do that, you kill culture.
Example.
For instance, the people who have the culture should represent the culture, not because you educated and you work in the Ministry of Culture. Or if you work with the Ministry of Culture, allow the people with the culture to work with you. Like for example, if you was a member of parliament, you have a permanent secretary. But people with revolutionary ideas want to always look at culture from an imperialist way, and by doing so, you're messing up the culture.
Give me an example. So take me through. So let's say a person who's an MP, member of parliament, and how that would operate, and they take somebody, let's say they're in St. Patrick's, but they don't want to use somebody from St. Patrick's, they use somebody else instead. What damage does that do? Well,
sometimes, yeah, that could play too. For instance, sometimes the Calypsonian with the best song, he might be oppressed because he didn't sing the song the government like. And this is not good for culture. But when Brafitt, who was the guy from Carriacou, what was prime minister, if you had sung even against him, he didn't care. Gary was thin-skinned, he will care. he might punish you too. But overall, in terms of other cultures around the ordinary people, in Gary, those cultures were flourishing better. But he was very timid with the Calypsonian too. But cultures was everywhere, you know. So, but now, and then we had the invasion of the Jamaican Rastafari culture. They interfere with our culture.
Mm-hmm.
He did interfere with it. Because, for instance, now he's not interfering in as before. That era gone. So the young people gone back to the culture. In terms of the jab music, take them back to the culture, because there is money to make if you make a good song.
Yes.
Without COVID, Mr. Killer will be performing in Kenya if there was no COVID. And the other guy, Skinny Banton, was saying, I heard him on a program saying he had 60 something shows to do. So that means even in Trinidad, last carnival in Trinidad, the jab sweep Trinidad, and then they will run over with him, the kings of everything. So, and they didn't want him, Mr. Killer, to perform on the stage because he'll take the crown and run with it again. But even though they didn't give Mr. Killer and Skinny Banton the crown, but the amount of money they make in Trinidad, they were still in the shows. So they come in with a lot of money still. And it's not to say that the Trinidadian doesn't like you. He like you, he loves you. But he can't give you a bed to sleep on. Pillow, and then you want to take his wife too. You understand what I mean? The Trini love you. But the Grenadian, the Grenadian was sweeping Trinidad. They were taking everything. So Mr. Iowa Judge cry out. He want piece in the money. Because Mr. Killer and Skinny Banton was popular than him. So he got to eat the food too. you know? So I think in Grenada,
yes,
Grenada need a cultural drive.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen, I don't believe, with the current person in charge. Do you?
No, I don't think he will. They will use culture around independence for the purpose. For instance, the MP in Victoria in St. Mark, Miss Clarice Modest Coutain, she used Shotney to launch a campaign, and one of the other female MP in St. Andrew, Delma Thomas, used Jab to launch a campaign. Because they know when to use it for the
purposes.
Yeah, because this is grassroots culture. But I don't think they will do it. And then also you have pockets of cultural groups in Grenada. You have spoken words, what we call rhythm and voice in Trinidad, they say rap so. And other style, you have young people could rap, could do things. But I don't see nothing happening. Nothing happening. Nobody doing nothing. Nothing. So, but culture is alive in Grenada, but it's not promoted. So they don't care about the heritage.
So the sale of nutmeg was always something that confused me.
Pardon me?
The sale of nutmeg.
The sale of
nutmeg, salsa.
Oh, they're still selling those products as raw materials. Presently, Grenada has the most soursop in the Caribbean. I'm not making it up. The most.
Has so many properties to it.
Well, they say soursop is
good for cancer.
For cancer. And
yes,
when I was a boy growing up, I'm giving you some culture history now.
Tell me.
Soursop. We used to make a drink called babale.
Yes, babale. I know babale.
Wow, babale. And you put ice and you get your swivel stick
Yes.
or whatever you do. In modern time, you blend.
Yes.
So you drink bubbly.
Yes.
Then again, on a hot day, March month when I was growing up in Grenada, I told you I was born 700 feet above sea level. So I grew up in a cool area in Grenada, very cool, Hermitage. But March month, if you feel a little hot, my parents used to, we had a soursop tree close to our house. I'll know the soursop tree is there. They used to pick soursop, cut it up and put in a big thing of water and drink for cooling. This is what the old people knew.
Mm-hmm.
And then people drink soursop leaf, like a herb.
Like a tea.
Right, and for you to sleep.
Every morning or every evening, we drink the soursop.
And also it's good to make you sleep.
Yes.
Soursop leaf and avocado leaf, or what you call zabuka. Avocado pear, make you sleep. So, but in Grenada, during the revolution, they had tried some agro industry, which was good. So that was the only time they experiment a bit.
We had soursop in the front of the garden, front of the house, and the back of the house.
Yeah, soursop.
Pick that. The aloe was for me. Every morning I get up and there'd be aloe for me. Just cut the aloe.
Yeah.
Take the green off it and then eat it flush. Bam.
Yeah,
straight.
and there is a
straight. What are you doing?
No, it's good for you.
And bathe with the aloe as well. Wash your face with the aloe.
Yeah.
The aloe man.
And there is another one called cochineal.
Okay.
It's a cactus, but it more flat and round. And he make one on one, and he can go up to all 10, 12 feet tall.
Okay.
And when the Rasta culture was hitting Grenada hard, you know, when the Bob Marley era, if you have your aloe tree, your cochineal tree, the Rastas used to come steal it and go, you know.
Okay.
So when you wake up, you notice some of it. Right. They wanted to watch the dreadlocks.
There's something that's come to mind. I remember now. There's the that crawling thing. No, it looks like a lizard. They like to cook and cook it on the road. I don't know what it's called again.
It looks like a lizard.
Iguana. Is it iguana?
Iguana. It's a big animal. It's the giant lizard.
Yeah, when they cook it and they put it on a stick and they
iguana.
Side of the road, iguana.
I ate it once.
Yuck! I didn't touch it.
Iguana love the coastal. They like the hot area on the coast.
Yes. Wow.
If you go to some Batway, Telescope, GRENADA'S, Calivini.
I don't have to go that far. They'll do it in St. Paul's in Mount Erie. I don't have to go that far.
Oh yeah, monkey. Yeah, iguana are everywhere. They like the heartland.
Yes.
In my area where I'm from,
yes,
you don't see them too much because it's too cool. They like the hot area. Batway and those places. You know where the Sulphur Spring is in Batway when you're going on River Sally?
Yes.
Well, around there you'll see lots of iguana. Those places, Shambo.
I hear that the iguana thing was a cultural thing as well. Because I don't understand why. I'm looking at it from. I'm like, well, what are you eating? I said, oh man, no why you don't know what you're missing, and they're eating it. You know what you're missing. I'm like, this is culture, man. This is culture. I'm like, what? Nastiness. That's what I said. Nastiness.
I ate it once to know what it tastes like.
What did it taste like? You only ate it once. That means that you never went back there.
Well, I didn't eat it because I want to be a regular eater of iguana, but I born in Grenada. I want to know how it tastes.
And
to me, it tastes wild.
Well, it's wild.
Yeah, in Canada we say it tastes gamey, like wild game. Because I remember I went in a place called Mount Forest in outside Toronto, way out in the country.
Yes.
With some Italian people, and they shot some rabbits and we cook it.
Fresh.
That it tastes wild too. Anything in the wild.
I'll tell you, now you're bringing memories back to me. You talk about wild and smelling fresh. There's a place, and this is no disrespect to the restaurant, by the way. Great people. There's a restaurant. If you go into Grenville, there's a supermarket. As you come into Grenville, upstairs there's a big restaurant upstairs.
In Grenville.
In Grenville, you go upstairs, big
Yeah.
supermarket. Upstairs there's a restaurant. Food's really good. But they said, "Do you want to eat this type of fish?" I don't know if you call it redfish or skipper or whatever they called it. And
snapper.
Snapper. I think it was snapper.
Snapper. Once you say
very, very strong, fresh
taste
to it. I was like, not me.
You didn't like it. Well, my favorite.
It might be snapper. I'm not sure.
Yeah, based on what you were saying, it sounds like snapper.
Very fresh. I'm like, not me. Not me.
My favorite fish in Grenada is Coutain fish.
There's another fish that got a something. Salad? I don't know.
Salmon?
No, not salmon. No, I know what salmon is. But it's a smaller fish. Because of the S.
S.
Salapine or salad? I don't know.
There's a small fish as a regular fish in Grenville around the coast.
Yeah.
From Batwegwal. Subies is famous for it. Outside Grenville. They call it Subies. When you leave Subies. When you leave Grenville and you're going down like you're going to go to St. David's.
Yes. About
a mile from Subies, about a village called Subies.
Subies, okay.
Around they have a lot of a fish called kakabawi.
Kakabawi.
Yeah, I think it means that fish is like they say he make the sand clean.
Yeah. Well, the two words kaka in Italian means toilet.
Poo. Yeah, poo. Yeah.
Well, in my head, kaka, that's enough.
Yeah, no, that's true, it's true. A kakabawi is a nice fish, but he have a lot of bone.
Okay.
But you say a fish what starting S supposed to be sprat. There's a little fish called sprat.
Okay.
And then you have jacks. You have robin.
Yeah, I know jacks. Of course, I know jacks.
Then you have one what look like that called anchovy.
Anchovy.
Yeah. Anchovy. Yes. Then there's a other fish we call snook. It's not an eel, but he's long. Snook.
Snook. Okay.
Yeah. Then there we have one we call whitening.
Okay.
He want to look like a snook too. But in Grenada we got the big giant toujon. It's a tuna fish. But in Grenada we call it toujon. Is when I come to Canada, I realize that's tuna. And even the one we
gone.
Yeah. There is one we call bonito.
Okay.
And then you have the darker one, they call it to. They are also tuna.
Answer me this. Why is it when you go to GRENADA'S near where the KFC is, in the drain, I swear, there are crabs walking the street like they're human beings.
Yes.
Loads of them crabs in the gutter and everything. What is that?
Now, crab, there's a Grenadian proverb that say if somebody always going everywhere, they say, how you like to walk so? They say if crab don't walk, he cannot get fat.
Right.
So I'm walking to get fat. Now crab tend to hibernate sometime in the year. So next month and later this month is crab season.
Right.
Crab come up when rainy season from the hole.
Yes.
But otherwise crab hide in the hole. They hibernate.
Well, they weren't hibernating. They had suitcases and they were walking. When I said,
well, right, that's why you saw them now. They're outside.
Yeah. And they were just, and this is on the pavement. And the pavement coming out, just walking along like this.
Do you?
It's part of the, like human beings that walking along. I'm looking going, oh my gosh, because it's like not often you expect to see walking on a pavement.
Yeah, rainy season.
You have to expect it.
It's crab season.
Wow.
Because I'm not close to the sea.
Right.
The crabs we are, they're big. We call them mountain crab.
Yeah.
Or we call them manikou crab. Manikou like possum.
Manikou, that's the one. It wasn't iguana. Manikou is what they were
eating. Yeah.
Manikou.
Yeah. But the other name for Manikou is opossum.
Opossum, right?
Yeah,
Why is it they eat the Manikou?
Why they eat it?
One was one they're eating, but Manicou's the main one.
Oh, I eat that too.
Culture as well.
If I get it now, I'll eat it. Right now, where I am. there are two types of Manikou in Grenada.
Yes.
Two type. I will say three, but it's okay. You have the big ones.
Yes.
But you have a type of Manikou that look bland, like a bland post.
Okay.
This is the biggest one, and in most Grenadians call it main wheat or main whip. I don't know why they call it so. When you get a big male, it's big, and the fur is white, so he look blandy. And then you have the one that look brunette, or you go say dark brown. That's it's big too, but not as big as the white one. And then there is a next Manikou.
Yes.
They're just as bigger than a big rat. And we call them Manikou Gauze. In French, in patois French, Gauze mean eye.
Listen, whether you say
they got
French,
big eyes. Yeah.
You can say in French, you can say in English, you can say Italian, you can say it in Chinese, you can say in Japanese. I am not touching it. No way, no shape, no fault, no iguana, no Manikou, no.
Yeah.
I don't care how cultural it is. No, not touching it.
What's about the
boar? I heard about the boar as well, but I never saw one.
The what?
The boar. The wild boar.
Not really wild bull. I will tell you what they have about wild in Grenada again. They have wild armadillo.
I know they got the lizard.
No, armadillo. Huh? You know what is
right?
Armadillo. You have an armor on the back.
Yes.
Grenada got lots of them.
They just walk in your house like they.
But you won't see them. You won't see them in GRENADA'S. You see them in the No, they like mountain. GRENADA'S. You see, like where I'm telling you I'm from in Grenada. I'm from 700 feet above sea level. They live in places higher than that and those altitude. Yeah. Armadillo. Grenada got lots of them. And also we have a species of monkey called Mona. You find it in West Africa.
That's okay.
Yeah. But in terms of culture and the heritage, they don't care about it. They don't care. Presently, the government is looking at what they could make money from, but they're not. Government should give people with culture money, a small money, to bring back those cultures to the best.
Right. Just to close this show up, because we're going up to about an hour, give us your top 5 proposals on how Grenada administration, whether this government or the next government or whatever, what would be your 5 proposals if you were Prime Minister, what you would do, or head of tourism, what you would do to improve the heritage and culture and promote it more within Grenada?
Okay, first I will say most of the people who kept the culture, they mightn't be people who've been to university and college. But respect them for the culture. Right. Because culture is your heritage and it brings money to your country, and it prevents foreign culture from invading you. So you don't have what you call cultural genocide. So respect these people, accept them, allow them to go to the schools and teach the children the culture.
Okay.
That's 1.
2.
Secondly, government should give something like a stipend or some money to people who have culture. What could promote it? You give them a small money.
When you say that's full money, what are we talking about?
Give them a few $1,000 so they could keep it in the community.
Right.
And enhance it.
Okay.
Yeah. And also, I think government is looking at agriculture is also culture. So
Okay, yes.
the cultural people must be respected more. And I think that the government they shouldn't have a person who is a lawyer come out in the urban center of Grenada as Minister of Culture. If you cannot get somebody who study agriculture, get somebody who knows about type of agriculture and put them in parliament. We can't be waiting on foreign people coming with ideas every time upon us. There are people in Grenada who they might never been to a secondary school, but they know how to irrigate the land. You know what I'm saying?
That's about valuing your people, though, and not valuing. You love your people and value people more than outsiders.
Yeah. For instance,
they won't be calling us for no agriculture. That's for sure.
They won't do it. For instance, when I was growing up in Grenada, we didn't used to use all these foreign fertilizer product in land. We was using cow manure, goat manure, sheep, you know. And then you used to see more ground snakes and so, but when they bring in all these pesticides and all these foreign products, they interfere in the ecosystem in the country, in the rural areas.
Right.
And I think that also causes a spike in cancer.
Right.
Yeah. I think government should engage people and forget who have masters and PhD all the time. The language is right in the village. The language is in the community. Deal with those people. That's what I think. Okay. Bring the culture to the school. Let it who have it teach the children. In Jamaica, culture is a big thing.
Yeah, you can tell, isn't it? They're not gonna get no genocide. Foreigners coming and telling Jamaicans what to do.
No. And even if you make the best reggae song outside in the Caribbean, you wouldn't be. They won't bless you with an open hand like if you go to Trinidad. In Trinidad with a if you go to Trinidad with a soca song and they tell you, okay, you sound nice, because the soca people is a movement, you know.
Yes.
I mean, on the night of the soca monarch, groovy monarch or the soca monarch is a different ball game. But in real life, the soca fraternity in the Caribbean is together. And if I was in Grenada, I will promote, and I involve in this, I will promote Afrobeat. Because there is something in Afrobeat we could get something from it. Because soca music is not too far from it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There is a interrelation there. I'm
sure somebody's going to put it. Somebody bring it together. Someone will put it together eventually.
But he have been Trinidad. Olatunji did it.
Okay.
With his song Afro Soca. And I know I just watch videos. In Africa, it's popular. So Grenadians have to forget all this thing about what happened in the revolution. That cannot come back and think of what they have now and try to work with it. That's what I see. And
forget about the revolution. Think about now.
Yeah, and try to save our heritage. And as you said,
know what? When you say about that, some would argue and say that is part of our heritage. That has how our culture has been shaped because of the invasion, because of this.
Well, they're not saving the invasion either. You raise a good topic I was slip out of my mind. Now, the armored cars that we got from Russia, there's big armored cars. We should have a museum with 2 or 3 of these armored cars. And all the weapons we get from the communist country, children should be seeing that in a museum.
Wow.
We doesn't have it.
Where are the armored cars now then?
The American took all and go. And today's match 13th, we're talking about that.
Wow.
You should be able to take your children to Grenada and show them the museum with all these things. In England, you have Madame Tussauds. So in Grenada, we don't know how to make money. They think money is only agriculture and just tourists coming on board and sleeping 5-star hotel. It should be more than that. People should visit in a museum in Grenada called the Revolutionary Museum.
That would be something, eh? The Revolutionary Museum.
Yeah. Whatever exists from Gary days to the PRG.
That'd be something.
They're not doing that.
That'd be something. Anything else?
Well, maybe we should keep that vibes going once a week, man. I got lots of things to talk about.
We should do it. We should.
Lots of things.
Before
the only thing
we can have you.
Okay, so we have a deal.
We have a deal.
Once a week. Whenever you're ready to call me, but I would like to come once a week. But if you call me before the week up, I'm always ready and prepared. I got lots of information. Lots of information.
Mr. Hudson George, hold on. Somebody's saying here, you're correct about the cancer spike. Martinique has a big problem with cancer from bananas being sprayed, plenty of prostate cancer, and babies born with conditions.
Yes. That comes from the Frenchman was bringing in all these dangerous pesticide to Martinique and Guadeloupe, like things like Rongdong, or you call it Deal Drill, Gramazone, all these. All they care about was getting bananas. They didn't care about the people's life, because you see the European people, there's a lot of things they doesn't understand. If they see a banana skin have a little spot, they think the banana is not good inside. So they start bringing all this pesticide and killing all the animals and all the insects in those areas. But what they're not looking at, they didn't care about the ecosystem in those areas. So when you damage the environment, you get the banana, and you expose the workers to it, then the men dying of prostate cancer. And it happened in Grenada too. Prostate cancer is killing people too.
Wow.
It rises. And other forms of cancer. And the government is not testing the soil where all these dangerous pesticides were used, or sometimes still used in places like Grenada, St. Vincent, St. Lucia, Dominica.
That will be our next topic for next week. Make that
okay, right, man.
Get your research for that. Let's tackle that next week.
Yeah, right. What day? What day? Saturday or Monday?
Same time, next Monday, same time.
Right on, my brother. Anyway, all right. As we close it, keep the vibes going.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. I want to spread it. As you put it up, I spread it. I send it out.
Yeah, brother. God bless you. Thank you all so much for watching.
Yeah, and stay safe.
Stay safe, he says.
Yeah.
Thank you all for watching another show live with Hudson George. We hope you've enjoyed it. See you next week. Take care.